This is Lingmoor Fell, a 3-mile long ridge of high ground that separates Great Langdale from Little Langdale. The name originates from the Old Norse word ling, that's spelt with a Y as opposed to an I. It simply means a hill covered in heather. Nowadays, Lingmoor is popular with walkers and grazed by Herdwick sheep. But it's what's beneath the surface that has interested the people in these parts for the past 300 years. We're starting this walk in Elterwater, which may be the haunt of tourists and walkers nowadays, but it owes its existence to Lingmoor. These fine old houses started life not as self-catering accommodation, but as quarry workers' cottages. The same is true of the nearby village of Chapel Stile. 100 years ago, most of the families that lived here derived their income from the quarries. This is where they came to work each day. Those two high walls were used to support a wooden trackway that ran across there. It was used to carry the slate of the little quarry up there down to the dressing sheds. The product that they worked so hard to produce were roof tiles. Now, if you're thinking that the traditional quarrying industry has been swept away by a modern tourist invasion, think again. Elterwater Quarry is alive and well. This walk goes right through it. There is an alternative route if you don't want to get run over by a truck with wheels the size of a small bungalow. It's a hot day today. Mid-20s, it's middle of September and it's hot and it's humid. It's not the best day for walking, to be honest. Thought occurs to me, although it's hot today, we do in the Lake District get more than half our share of rain. So I found it a little bit ironic that in this area of higher rainfall there is manufactured a product that is used to keep the UK population dry. In other words, roof tiles. It's wonderful stone slate. You know, they've been quarrying it now for the best part of 300 years, and it keeps us dry and keeps us warm. It's a lot safer now than it used to be. There's a lot of lives been lost in the slate quarries. I quite like them there, actually. A lot of people don't like the fact that they're there, but they say they're blot on the landscape and they destroy the peace and quiet. But it's a traditional industry and I quite like it. Beyond the quarries, the walk enters more familiar territory, a nice stretch of woodland, and it is not long before the open fellside is reached. It's a bit of a slog coming up there. You've got the noise of the quarry working away, but actually the views from this little viewing platform by the Spores Heap, well worth it. Beautiful view across the valley down to Chapel Stile, the quarries themselves. It's lovely.
We may have left the modern quarry behind, but we're actually heading in the direction of an old one. It shows the level of investment that went into winning the stone. They actually built this mile-long trackway along the side of the fell to reach the upper quarry. It had to be strong enough to take what would have been quite heavy traffic in those days, and well over 100 years later, it has survived the ravages of the Lake District weather.
Right, that's the last bit of that quarry track. We say goodbye to that. We've got the last bit of climb up here onto the side of the fell, and then we'll be on the top. We'll be able to see both ways, and the views get even better. Can you believe that? So for the time being, we're going to leave that scenery behind, turn our back on it, and get to the top of the fell.
At the top, it's one of my favourite gates in the whole of the Lake District, this one.
Quite stiff that, it's quite a hot day today. I've come about 400 yards off the main path to give myself a little bit of a bonus view, and also a chance to sit down and have a nice drink just off the path. I'm on a bit of an outcrop. In fact, if I go 10 yards that way, I'll fall off the edge. All those who shouted hooray should be ashamed of themselves. Nice view up Rhinos that way. Lovely view of Langdale town. You can see all the people going over Slater's Bridge. Got a good view of Windermere over there. And there's been a couple of buzzards flying around here. The trouble is, they've been circling. They're in the sun. The sun's quite high up there, and it made filming them impossible, which was a big shame. We're obviously catching the thermals, but it's beautiful here. I'm going to sit here for half an hour and have a nice long drink and a bit of a rest before carrying on.
Rest over, back to the ridge.
One of the things I really like about this walk, apart from the fact that it's got fabulous views all around, is the ease of navigation. You see the wall? You remember a little while ago I climbed over a green gate in a wall. Well, that's the same wall. It just follows the line of the top of the fell, and in fact it runs virtually to the top. It converts to a fence just before the top. So all you do is follow the path that for most of the distance follows the wall. There are one or two places where it does veer away from the wall because there are rocks and crags and bits of scree in the way, but by and large it follows the wall. So all you've got to do, follow the wall and you'll get to the top.
Don't I make it sound easy? Actually, it's pretty much like most ridges. The path rises and falls a bit like a roller coaster. There are places to rest on the way up, small shelter, rocky outcrops, but I just enjoy rambling along really. And I just love the way this wall just snakes across the top of the fell. And there are several parts where you can peer over the top and look down into the valley below.
Last little bit steep, but then we're at the top.
Over this stile, and we've reached the highest point. Brown Howe. It's easy to see how it gets its name. That small body of water to the right is Lingmoor Tarn. There's a path down to it, but it can get a bit boggy. It's actually a bit bigger than it looks from up here. Nice view of Loughrigg Fell there. The village of Chapel Style with Silver Howe behind it. There's Fairfield in the distance, centre top. The gap in the middle is Grisdale Hawes. Then you've got Seat Sandal, Dollywagon Pike and Nethermost Pike. Top left of the picture there, that's Helvellyn. And these two need no introduction. But just in case you are new to these parts, those are the Langdale Pikes.
You'll agree, that's a stunning view.
I'm going to finish by walking a little way down the fell to get this fine view up Mickleden and this equally impressive view of Bleatarn.